Hello people, I'm Jaby KOAY, joined by Amy ARBURN. We're going to look at BEYOUNICK's The Perfect Guy. Real quick shout out to Namita Lad for getting in touch with BEYOUNICK and getting permission for us to do these reactions. Thank you so much. And thank you to BEYOUNICK for allowing us to do this. We just watched The Perfect Girl, so very curious about this.
Yes, what is going to happen?
Hopefully it's in English. Okay. The perfect guy.
Opens the door.
Open the door for the lady. Her little privacy curtain.
Chivalry.
Right.
It's not dead.
Chivalry. It's such an interesting conversation in itself.
Yeah, right?
He hands her the menu. No dialogue.
None.
Saves money there.
Yeah. No sound.
I always think of as a filmmaker, like all these little things. No sound effects. Table manners. You think about that kind of thing when you're on a date, table manners? If a guy's like,
I'm not stringent about it, but if they're like, if
food
they
all over his face.
burping,
Yeah, burping.
a big belch for me.
Big belch.
In
That'll
the
turn
first.
you on. That turns you on?
No, quite opposite actually.
A sense of humor. I love a guy with a sense of humor.
Me too.
I can't tell you how many dating apps I've seen or dating profiles where girls go, I love to laugh.
I love to laugh. Really, I like to cry.
Yeah.
A lot.
I'm a mess. Romantic. Yeah. Oh, that's more thoughtful than romantic, or both. But
Yes.
I would categorize it under
Courteous.
thoughtful. What's gonna happen? He's got a vagina, right? He pees sitting down. Micropenis. Vagina.
What is gonna be wrong with him?
Moves. Man-tits.
Maybe he's a terrible kisser.
Bye.
Oh, that was a very...
Keep it now. I need a reason to meet you again.
Don't ever do that.
With the hair.
Don't ever do that.
OMG.
I did that once, and I didn't get my jacket back. Hold on.
No way.
2 hours later.
You know what? Even I was thinking of it.
Nick, what the fuck? You had motherfucking ganja in your jacket, the cops have caught me. नहीं, नहीं, मेरा नहीं है. मेरा नहीं है ये. What the fuck? What am I supposed to do now?
बापाला फोन लाव तुझ्या चल लाव इकडे
Hang up, just hang
बापाला
up,
फोन लाव
listen.
चल लावले आतमध्ये घ्यायला घ्या आतमध्ये घ्या तू फोन घ्या काढून घ्या फोन बापाला फोन लावायच्या.
That was a very unexpected turn of events.
Totally unexpected.
I like that it was so unexpected. It was just that, like, it didn't feel like the most relatable thing, so it kind of caught me off guard. Like, if he farted or something, that would have been something I see happening. But like ganja in the jacket, I was like, hold on, what? Just wait a second.
Right.
But I guess it is something that's potential that in this day and age with people keeping stuff in there. Yeah, I suppose it's possible.
Yeah, it's not something I'd forget, but I don't know. He was too caught up in the hair thing, maybe.
I had a phase. Okay, for me, there are certain requirements I have for a girl that I date. It was 2 requirements. It's very simple. The first one was she needs to have some kind of passion or be looking for a passion, right? Even if she doesn't know what she wants to do, she's got to be looking for it.
Right.
The second requirement was she needs to be into fitness. She's got to be someone who works out. That's just because that's the kind of guy I am, and I feel like it's a lifestyle choice almost, and you need someone like that in order to sustain that.
Absolutely. Well, because how can you keep eating well and clean if the person...
I had a phase where I dated, a very short phase, where I was like, you know what, let me just set that aside. Let me not discriminate against size. I'll date anybody.
Yeah.
And I dated 3 heavier chicks. Is that
Larger?
a politically correct? Larger
women.
framed.
Yeah. Curvaceous
Curvaceous.
women.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Very curvaceous. You know what happens is when you're in this kind of situation, I was a lot younger, okay, so forgive me for phrasing it this way, but like, you kind of put yourself on a pedestal. You're like, well, I'm, opening up the door for you, so to speak, into a possibility of a relationship with a person.
Yeah.
And it's a very asshole, natural thing to do. And I think all of us have kind of been there where we think we're the better one. I've since abandoned that mentality, but like at the time, I decided to be a gentleman. It was cold outside. I let her borrow my jacket, and I'm like, well, it'll be the next time I see you, I'll get it back. And she had no interest in seeing me again.
And she didn't give you your jacket back?
No, she didn't give me the jacket back, And so like here I was thinking I was being like, suave and debonair.
Yeah,
and,
like gives me another reason.
And she was like, yeah, no, I got 10 guys lined up who want to date me. In the States, usually you think that the women who are most likely to be dating guys all the time are the ones who are thin, fit, super, super attractive and whatnot. But I found that the women who are like heavy actually date way more.
Really?
It's crazy. They are having way more intimacy in their lives than most other women. And I'm like really surprised. It's crazy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting
it's
little
very surprising.
pattern.
Yeah.
But
and I think part of it also has to do with the fact that super attractive women are harder to approach. They're harder to approach because people are intimidated. They're like, I don't know, maybe she'll say no. I can't deal with the no.
the no, yeah. I don't envy you guys. I mean, I think it's a terrifying. I mean, just going up to a person and starting a conversation cold like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
hard.
It's hard. Like I said, I do not envy you.
Let's go down the checklist real quick.
I was going to say, can we go through each of the little tenets of guy perfection? Because we had things to say.
Yeah, have a privacy curtain on your car. Check, number one.
Totally.
It's like, I call that a confession curtain.
A confession curtain?
Yeah, I grew up Catholic. We didn't have the boxes like you see in the movies where you open up a window.
Right.
In my church that I went to when I was a kid, it was like these 2 rooms, and you had a privacy curtain if you wanted. And I would always... Yeah, because it was awkward. I don't want to look at you while I'm telling you what I did.
Have you ever seen one on a car like that, though?
Yeah, I probably have. I mean, it's
absolutely haven't.
It's probably less of a privacy curtain and more for sunlight, so you don't.
Oh, okay. So the car doesn't get chivalry.
That's an interesting one for me. I have heard of girls who will go ballistic on you if you hold the door open.
Open the door for them.
I'm like, what do you want?
I kind of consider it. I mean, chivalry in the traditional sense is a man being courteous to a woman. I think it can go both ways. Like, if I approach the door first and there's a man behind me, I'm going to open it.
Yes.
But I've had men go, oh, no. And they will not walk through the door I hold open for them.
That's stupid.
Isn't that stupid? It's just common courtesy. We can all, it doesn't have anything to do, or it shouldn't, I think, with gender. I think it should just be, you're a human, I'm going to be polite to you. I'm going to open the door.
I try to employ an equal kind of philosophy when it comes to certain things. For some reason, I haven't really taken that approach when it comes to meals, where I will just take that upon myself more often when it comes to paying for meals.
Paying for the meal.
Yeah, but when it comes to carrying stuff, holding the door, basic things like that, I like to make things equal. Like if me and my girlfriend go shopping, I will load up her arms with groceries. I'm like, you good? All right, let me get this little bag. Go.
Yeah.
But by the same token, like I have instances where I'm carrying all the stuff, and it just depends. Like she'll hold the door open for me, I'll hold the door open for her. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I have come across girls who are like, do not hold the door. I can hold my own door. I can pull up my own chair. Thank you very much. Did I just hit your butt? Oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, oh my God, I'm such a pervert. So,
chivalry!
Yeah, exactly.
Let me just smack your ass. I understand where they're coming from in the sense that there's a beneath the surface condescension to it, like I can't open my own door.
Yeah.
But again, it just goes back to politeness.
Yeah.
And extending kindness to another human.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I use my fork. I have
Table manners.
Table manners are
Belching.
important.
Belching is cool.
Belching is not cool. Men, don't do that. Women, don't do that. Just don't do that. I am not a stickler with table manners. Like, you used the wrong fork. But I think belching, like weird slurping.
You used the wrong fork.
Yeah, I'm not going to get mad at that.
You know who's a big stickler for specificity when it comes to utensils and whatnot is the Japanese. At least from what I can tell. I worked at a Japanese restaurant, like a very traditional Japanese restaurant for a very short time in West Hollywood. And the dude was super traditional. And he's like, you cannot serve them the utensils on this side. It has to be on this side. Japanese are all about order. Like, it's a very specific thing all the time.
Yeah.
Fun fact, like, if you're at a Japanese restaurant and you got your chopsticks, never put them into the rice bowl like
And
that.
leave them.
And leave them like that, because that means death. set them to the side. If I am with a girl and she belches,
Yeah.
I think I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't care how cool she is. Like, I think I'm done. That's just kind of gross.
Why can't I feel the same way about a dude?
And you
It's
should.
Just gross.
No, you should.
Yeah.
Like, that's nasty.
It's nasty.
I don't like that. I
You
try.
know, maybe if you've been together for a little while and you have had a lot of carbonated beverages or something, and you really need to burp, okay, but no, if you burp.
Speak of the devil.
And you see, take note how there was like a hand
Oh
in front
my.
of the
Okay.
mouth. and-
Speaking of manners,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've come across people who cough out, who sneeze out.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just did that everywhere. Like, what do you? Use your elbow. Like,
Elbow.
you know, don't use your hand because then you shake hands with people. That's nasty.
It's
use your
so
elbow.
gross. That's just like basic hygiene.
I used to teach kids martial arts and they would just cough everywhere and I'm like, who mannered you? Cough into your elbow. Table manners, like that's a very like strict measure of like, okay, the forks where they're supposed to be and the spoons and whatnot. Like that's a very strict measure of protocol. But like, okay, for instance, I have my food, you have your food. How do you feel about a guy just taking from your plate, a guy you're dating for the first time? Just, oh, can I try that?
I think the question before the reach.
Quite-
Question before reach. Can
Yeah.
I have a fry?
Yeah.
Of
But just
course.
assuming.
Assuming isn't okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what assuming.
Yeah,
does.
assuming makes a butt out of both of us.
Yes.
That's the saying.
That is exactly how it goes.
Sense of humor.
Sense of
Okay.
humor, okay.
I always take a picture of it to share with people. Every time I'm on a dating app and it says, I love to laugh. I'm like, who doesn't love to laugh? I've never seen a dating profile where someone says, I hate laughing. Laughing is horrible.
Maybe there's a dating site out there for people.
Non-laughter people.
Yeah. It'd be really serious.
People like sad clowns.
Yeah. Sense of humor.
Sense of humor. A
It's
guy with a sense of
important.
humor.
I always say for me, a sense of humor in a guy is like boobs. Like, oh. Okay.
But you can live without it, but it's nice when that's there. It's that kind of thing.
Well, it's definitely like
definitely a good plus.
I'm paying attention.
Okay,
if
but-
you make me laugh, I am paying attention.
That's
Hello.
that's a hilarious kind of comparison. Like a sense of humor in a guy is boobs on a girl. But have you ever been on a date with a dude where he's like, how are you? Like no life in him whatsoever, no levity in his personality whatsoever. Like how often do you come across a person like that? It's not that often. That's just a bad date.
No.
But like it's not that often that happens.
I guess what then you're looking for is I think everyone has a sense of humor. Hopefully,
Yes.
it's just there are many flavors of senses.
Let me tell you
of
something.
humor.
That can go south really fast with the
Yeah.
wrong person. I mentioned this before, I'm sure somewhere. I dated a girl who had a very, very, very well-developed sense of humor. She would laugh at everything. Everything.
No.
Everything.
Good.
Hey, do you want some water? No. Everything. And I'm like, I can't, like, you're hot, you're exotic looking, and you're like into space and video games, but you laugh at everything,
Well,
and
that gives off a very kind of ditzy vibe. And wasn't one of your things intelligence? Or was it?
Intelligence. Well, if you got boobs. I'm just joking. No, seriously. Intelligence, at least a marginal amount of intelligence is required. But no, she had intelligence about her. It's just that she laughed at everything. And I was like, is that a defense mechanism? And she's like, no, I just think it's funny. Something
wow.
like, oh my God.
So this didn't.
It ended very, very quickly. But
quickly.
she's an actress. And I remember she was talking to my brother. And she needed headshots. So I recommended her to him. And I called him up later on. I was like, so when you guys were on the phone talking, did she laugh a lot? And he goes, you know what? It's so funny you should ask that because I thought I was like the funniest motherfucker on the phone because she was laughing at everything I said. It's like, it makes you feel really good
It's confidence
for
inducing.
for the first hour. And then after that, you're like, oh, wait, like that's just standard, like standard protocol with this person. I'm not actually funny.
But yeah, sense of humor, duh, that's a plus.
Just a normal sense of humor.
Yeah, well, and some people are very dry with their sense of humor. Some people are very sarcastic, and some people plain don't speak sarcasm. So
That's the
gotta-
worst.
yeah.
That's the worst. You know,
Is it?
This is a very large gradient because Achara Kirk has a super, super, super dry sense of humor to the point that I don't know that she's even joking. And she's like, I'm just dry. I'm like, that's a desert. That's like super dry to the point where there's no water.
0%
You know, like I
humidity.
can't tell if I'm supposed to laugh or not because sarcasm requires a bit of ability to discern what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, clearly you're not being like honest. You're being kind of funny. It's,
Right.
I guess she's
It
just a
has-
good actress.
Yeah,
I tend to be very sarcastic.
same.
Yes,
We speak it.
exactly.
That's great.
You're a terrible person.
You too.
We already went over all that. Don't give a girl your jacket ever.
No, because you might not get it back.
Exactly. Even if her headlights are on. I do try to give a girl my jacket any opportunity, and if she asks if I'm cold, I man up and I say absolutely.
What's the epidemic of women not bringing coats?
I know.
Yeah,
like,
girl,
damn lady,
bring
like
yourself a jacket.
I thought ahead. I brought my jacket.
Yeah.
And an extra pair of socks.
Yeah.
For me.
I mean, like the whole cliche suit jacket,
Mm-hmm.
I can get because most women's dresses, and it's very hard to find a coat.
Is there a dog dying outside?
Puppy. A coat that works with like an evening gown or formal wear for women. So that I get, but in this situation, it's very casual. And where is her denim jacket? Fallen
She
out
just
again.
didn't think ahead.
No, she didn't.
You wore flip-flops here today. Or not flip-flops, what are those?
There are sandals.
Sandals, see? That's a big no-no sometimes for me. I'm like, what if there's a zombie apocalypse right now? And you're trying to running it. Those are more acceptable. She's got the ones that kind of cover your feet as opposed to thongs. It just depends on the situation. Like I have thong flip-flops, but I only wear them in a circumstance where I know I won't have to run from zombies. Which is never. So they just sit on the shelf most of the time.
Those are really comfortable, by the way.
I-
I could survive them in the zombie apocalypse.
I always try to think ahead. I'm always like, okay, what is going to happen next? Is it cold outside? I'll bring a jacket even if it's hot right now. It might be cold later.
I always bring a jacket.
Yeah.
Always.
Could be blistering hot outside. I'll still bring an umbrella.
Well, and I just hate being cold, and I'm not going to wait for someone to give me their jacket.
Yeah.
It's just smart. Plan for all occasions, all weathers.
You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. This
fun.
has been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It's nice getting to see you again.
Yeah.
Familiar faces are always cool. Also, make Amy a familiar face for you on her social media by following her.
Yeah.
She would appreciate that.
I would.
She doesn't have that many subscribers yet on her Instagram, and we're trying to help her out, trying to boost that just a little bit. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out our other reactions, reviews, and short films.
Sarcasm.
I'm Jaby KOAY. That's Amy. Yes?
Arbern.
Arbern.
Yeah.
Peace out.